have you ever got a speeding fine? If you haven't, well done. Congratulations. That's really, really impressive. But if you have got one and thought, I know, I just don't buy that I was doing that speed. Sometimes you look at your speedo and you go, oh my God, I was over. You can see it. You can see it coming down as your foot hits the brake. Your heart hits about 150. But sometimes you just can't believe you were doing that speed. But what do? You have to believe their instruments. Or do you? Have a listen to this. I don't think the officials really want you to know about this. Police have withdrawn a speeding fine after a driver was about to present evidence alleging a critical failure in the operation of their roadside guns. Oh, my goodness. Now, Andrew Wiseman is a principal solicitor of Wiseman Lawyers. We talk to him occasionally on these things. Thanks so much for joining us, Andrew.
Morning, Claire.
So, Gordon Wright, he's 64, pleaded not guilty to driving 67 in a 60 zone on the connection road on the Gold Coast, Smith Street. And he's a retired electronics engineer with the RAF, and he told the Gold Coast Bulletin that it was raining heavily. Now, we didn't know that raining was a defence in any way, but you can tell us a bit more how this works and what his defence was.
Yeah, look, the short answer is it's not. And whilst the media's done a good job at trying to paint him out as the underdog who's found some kind of loophole in the law and beaten the system, that's not the case. Matters get thrown out by magistrates all the time due to procedural issues, and the procedural issue here was that the prosecutions didn't have their witness, and the magistrates obviously thought, well, if you're not ready to go, I'm going to throw it out. So he hasn't won, and he sort of vented to the media at the front of court because he had his 8 pallet loads of evidence, unquote, that he was looking forward to taking up the day of the court's time.
So he went into the court with a trolley like a...
Wow, I'm talking it up a bit, but on my reading of the press reports, he was armed, unquote, with evidence. I don't know, I don't know if it was as per the legal definition of evidence, but it was evidence as per the Courier Mail definition, and he was quite upset that he didn't get to display it to all and sundry. But so it wasn't thrown out because he got up on some legal point or that his argument that it wasn't set to weather mode was correct. It was simply thrown out, I guess, due to the magistrate's frustration at the police, and no disrespect to the police, but at the police not being ready. And if I could just qualify that by saying that Southport Court in particular is massively under-resourced and massively understaffed, and it's no secret the high-end offending that's been going on the Gold Coast recently. So you'll understand that the police haven't put this, in my view, trivial matter at the top of their priority list and thrown all of their resources at it. So I think they can be forgiven for not being ready to box on day as...
Let's backtrack on what he wanted to do. It was raining heavily when he was fined, alleged the roadside unit had not been switched to weather mode. So his defence is poor weather can affect the accuracy of the radar and laser-based speed detection required as water drops are reflective. And is that true that during wet weather...
there's no rain button. I don't know how laser-guided bombs work, but I'm assuming they've got... checks and balances in their inherent software as these speed camera devices do as well. But the short answer is, it's 2015. These are a new technology being rolled out across the state. It's highly advanced, and I think it goes without saying that someone at the design room at the speed camera factory has contemplated rain, and it's been built into the software. So there's no rain button, there's no rain setting. When this device is measuring the speed of motorists, the laser goes out. If it comes back successfully, it records the speed of that vehicle, and if for whatever reason the beam is hindered by rain or any other object, it just comes up with an error message. You'll never get a speed camera having an incorrect speed reading and then triggering a speeding infringement notice based on any obstruction. All it'll come up with is an error message, and the operator will then void that reading, and that'll be the end of it. So even though this didn't make it to the hearing as such, the argument, if it had been presented, would not have got up because, again, the man's relying heavily on his, laser-guided bomb experience in the RAF But like laser-guided bombs that don't just get dropped willy-nilly, speeding tickets don't just get issued willy-nilly, and obviously checks and balances are in place in the software to make sure it doesn't happen. And I should add, it must be a slow news day. I'm looking at the woes of Instagram.
Oh, come on, go easy.
Tickets.
This is the second time you've bashed me up in 5 minutes. Oh, the media beating up. Slow news day.
I'm not having to go at Fairfax, but
No, just me in person.
No. A certain print publication likes to make news out of nothing, and that's what I'm sort of saying. This ticket is it's news out of nothing, and
I'm glad you could put it to rest, because I wanted to find out if this is a defence. If in the rain the police do have to switch their guns to weather mode, but that is absolute malarkey. There's no such thing, and even if their evidence had been presented, he would have lost his appeal.
I just gave the long-winded version of that, but in one sentence, that's exactly right.
And you should be driving to conditions. If it's raining, you should be driving below the speed limit anyway. So that is another defence for the police.
And that's right. And I suspect that this gentleman wasn't retired. Like the rest of Queensland, he wouldn't have taken a day away from his job to waste taxpayers' money in fighting trivial.
You're quite fired up, Andrew. Normally you're on the side of the little guy.
No. Well, look, if this guy was going to lose his licence, which he wasn't, I mean, I'm a hard-working taxpayer like everyone else, and I just don't like seeing the courts, if people weren't allowed to waste the court's time like this, magistrates would be knocked off by lunchtime, but because of stuff like this, the courts are under the pump, and, as a sort of a taxpayer as much as anyone else, and, I don't like seeing resources wasted, especially police resources.
It is
anyway,
interesting. No, if you do get pulled up by police and it is raining, don't mention the weather mode. It's not going to make them happy.
Real good way to fail the attitude test.
Andrew Wiseman from Wiseman Lawyers, great to have your take on this. Thank you so much.
Have a great day.
We'll talk to you soon. Coming up next.